This is your captain speaking. And now I want to talk about Venus and liberating your heart. I'd be very curious to know if any of you have experienced a kind of heart opening in the last week or so. We are in Venus opposite Uranus. You can see it here on the chart in the upper left. It's just 2 degrees right now. Venus, Venus has been on a journey. It was square Uranus, or excuse me, square Saturn, and then it's moved into the Uranus opposition. Saturn and Uranus are about, how far away are they? They're 7 degrees apart right now. So it's like first Venus hits Saturn, and then it moves on to Uranus. We're going to talk about the Saturn-Uranus combination into some depth later. But right now, just noting that Venus has gone across the Saturn-Uranus, and it's like, when did it start on Saturn? Like around the 10th. Let me just do something here. Okay. Go back to September 10th, 11th. You can see Saturn down at, or Venus rather, is just starting to square Saturn about 6 degrees on September 11th. And then day by day it gets tighter on Saturn until here on the 17th of September, Venus is exactly square Saturn. And yeah, Venus Saturn has a lot to do with working hard to incarnate love, working hard to bring love into form, to build love, to make love real. I think that's one dimension of Venus Saturn. It often involves a kind of love force that comes up against a challenge or an obstacle, or or where like Saturn can be like a protection of the heart or like guarding the heart. It's not always like that. It's the combination of like working hard to keep the heart open. It has a lot to do with a kind of wisdom that comes through like hanging in there with an open heart, hanging in there, enduring through the challenges and obstacles of life with an open heart. Isn't that our goal in life? Moving through the challenges of life with an open heart to ourselves first. Like, are we open-hearted towards ourselves in the midst of a challenging time? I think that's a Venus-Saturn question. Venus-Saturn has a lot to do with self-love, committed, loyal self-love, protective self-love, where out of love for yourself, you make choices and take actions that are about protecting your heart, your vulnerable heart, and also strengthening your love force. Saturn strengthens things. So I guess that would be a question if you want to leave a comment. Like, do you feel like in the last couple weeks your heart has grown stronger? That like there's a stronger love force? Like, I want to say, do you believe in love more at this point compared to 2 weeks ago? I hope so. I feel like I do. I feel like a stronger love force happening for me right now. And yet I also feel like there's been some big challenges to overcome in the last couple of weeks, especially, where did I think I said the 10th and 11th is when it came in. So what's that? Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, it's like Venus was more with Saturn. And so it's like there's been some challenges to overcome, but do any of you feel like it's been worth it and you've returned to the strong love force that you've earned throughout your life? That's Venus Saturn, but at a certain point it started to come more on Uranus, right about the 17th and 18th. It moves, it's like a separating square from Saturn and an applying opposition to Uranus. And so it's like Saturn and Uranus together, we'll talk about this, have a lot to do with like being liberated, being emancipated through hard work or after facing a challenge. After overcoming obstacles, there's a freedom experience. That's with Saturn and Uranus. Saturn and Uranus together can really feel kind of stuck. Like there's one impulse towards freedom, the other is towards things staying the same. And so there can be a lot of tension with the two of them. But if you kind of hang in there with the tension and move through whatever obstacles might be there, there's a kind of special liberation that can come in Saturn Uranus times. It's the liberation that comes from, figuring out how to restructure your life, re-engineer your life in a way that works, And it's like, whoa, are any of you feeling like, oh, I figured something out. I've figured out how to make something work that wasn't working. That can be a Saturn Uranus kind of thing where it's like you have a broken watch and then you go in there and you fix it, you fix the watch, and it's like you have to go into the engineering parts and see what's not working, and then you replace it, and then it's like, oh, I fixed it, it came back. And with Venus, it's like somehow it's like you're fixing a wound to your heart. It's like you're realizing how structures in your life were not supporting a sound container for love. Structures in your life were not engineered well to be a supportive container for love. And so it's like you're finding where the weak points are in your life that have made it harder for love to thrive. And so right now, though, there's a sense of love flowering. That's Venus is love and Uranus emancipates it. Or Venus is beauty and Uranus emancipates it. Going back to the beauty of the changing of the colors of the leaves, I'm realizing right now that's a very Venus-Uranus thing. The way that just dramatic shift that can happen quite rapidly from, trees and flowers in full bloom to the changing colors happening. It's like Venus-Uranus is like the wow energy. Like, wow, I didn't remember how beautiful this is. Wow, I didn't remember what love feels like. It's that kind of vibe. And so, this is a special moment for a lot of reasons. Like, really recognizing the special gifts of coming out of the summer energies and really recognizing how, beauty has come back into your life in some way, or love has come back into your life in some way, but also in a surprising way where it's like, oh, it's coming in a new way. I didn't know that love could be like this. I didn't know it could feel like this. I didn't know this particular surprising version of it. That's the Venus-Uranus energy. And so, it's like using this metaphor of engineering. We're in a process during the Saturn-Uranus square of 20 to 23. We're in a process of re-engineering our lives. And when you add Venus to it, every time Venus comes onto the Saturn-Uranus, maybe especially at the Venus-Uranus conjunction and the Venus-Uranus opposition with the squares to Saturn, those key moments, I think there basically would be like 6 of those over the 3 years. But the opposition has a particularly, it's like the full moon moment in the Venus-Uranus cycle. And so it's also a kind of full moon moment in the Venus-Saturn-Uranus cycle, because we're closer to the end of the Saturn square Uranus than we were to the beginning. And so we're deep into the Saturn-Uranus process of re-engineering things, but we're also in a certain kind of process related to beauty and love, where we're engineering structures into our life that are more supportive of love and beauty. And so, yeah, it's like you're engineering a more beautiful structure in your life. It's both more sound, like there's sound engineering plans, but it's both sound and beautiful sounds. and and so yeah, it's not just that you're trying to build more stable structures in your life, like, after the flooding or after the fires or after the building collapsing. It's like you have to take a look at things and realize, okay, how can we re-engineer these so they're much stronger and will withstand the extremes of weather, say. And it's like that can be a very pragmatic thing, just making sure it's sound and secure. But then Venus reminds us that it can be not just better engineered, but more aesthetically beautiful, more artistic. Like artistry meets engineering, like a beautiful piece of technology. That can be a Venus-Uranus thing. It's definitely a version of it, is beauty and technology coming together, and like pleasure and technology coming together, intimacy coming and being mediated by technology. It's this whole range is a Venus-Uranus dimension of the human experience, is how we can have intimacy and pleasure aided by technology, aided by inventions that can bring new forms of pleasure, new forms of beauty that are not possible without the technological innovations. Okay, so yes. So we're in this kind of liberating moment for love and for beauty. And at the same time, what's going on here? Venus, you can see, let's come back to today. You can see Venus is 3 degrees past the opposition to Uranus, but at the same time, it's moving towards an exact trine to Neptune, which is another really lovely thing. And at the same time, it's also squaring Jupiter. So it's like Venus is being liberated, the heart is being liberated, but also expanded. It's like your heart is freed from the armoring, the protective sheltering, but it's also growing larger, like a sense of, wow, love is bigger than I thought. This is even more beautiful than I could have imagined. The colors are even richer than I remember. That's the Venus-Jupiter energy. And so it's like this sequence of first Venus opposite Uranus and the trine to Neptune following, and that leading right into an exact Venus squared Jupiter. Let's just look at how long that continues. You can see by the 28th, Venus is exactly trine Neptune. I want to make note of this moment on the 29th and 30th. Look at where the moon is, forming a grand trine with Venus and Neptune. That's one of the yummiest alignments. So please mark, let's say it's exact around noon. Oh, it's not exact there. It's a little earlier. Okay, I'm going to get precise here. Grand trines are pretty precise if they involve the moon. Let's see. It goes back to here. Yeah, this is around. So it's like, all of September. Well, let's just say the 29th and 30th. Focus on the 29th and 30th, everybody, for a kind of melting of the heart, a kind of delicious, yummy, floating in the waters of love kind of vibe. It's a very nice one. It's a very nice one. And so, yeah, if you have the ability to spend more time in water that day, I would definitely say that would be a good way to honor this rare alignment. Venus, Grand Trine, Moon, and Neptune. That doesn't happen every year, I don't think. And so, yeah, special day of water blessings, a special day of intimacy with the divine, with the mysteries, with the subtle energies. It's a really lovely one for interpersonal intimacy as well. Very special for kind of soul level contact. So yes, that is September 30th. And by this point, what's going on? Now let's go back to day by day here. So Venus is at 23. So Venus is exactly square Jupiter October 1st, and still trine Neptune, still tightly square Jupiter all the way. Let's just say October 7th, 8th, still strong. So it's like we've been on this journey of heart opening that came in around September 10th and 11th, and it goes until October 8th. And so there's a certain kind of, profound heart opening that could coincide with these energies. And I think ultimately it's about like self-love, the opening of the heart to oneself, which is going to, it's going to mean that you're more forgiving of yourself, you're more patient with yourself, you're more understanding and caring towards yourself. That's the real gift of an opening of the heart. And from that place, when you love yourself, love grows and you're able to share it. That's the Venus-Jupiter kind of vibe, the overflowing abundance of love. And so it's not just a harvest of crops that we're talking about that's been happening and is happening, but it's a harvest of love. Love harvest. Is there an album cover called that? There's Harvest, of course. Isn't that, is it Harvest Moon by Neil Young? Or is it just Harvest? Have a sip of water. Harvest Moon. Well, that reminds me. I meant to just say when like Libra season peaks at the new moon, the Libra new moon, which I think is on the 12th. Is that right? No, that's wrong. The Libra new moon is here on October 6th. So that's about a week from now. We move into the heart of Libra. And so it's really coming on strong, the Libra vibes, but we're moving towards the heart of Libra. And yes. But I was naming the Venus transits are kind of happening right up until here. So it's like that harvest moon energy. Is the Libra new moon the harvest moon, or is it the Virgo new moon? It's probably Virgo. But there's a lot of harvesting happening during Libra as well. And under this one, it's about harvesting the amazing crops of love that you have worked so hard to grow. And so I hope you've been growing love and now you're harvesting love, and that energy can guide you further into the autumn and carried right through into winter. The last thing I'll mention about Venus here, let me see. Well, I just want to make note that Venus is very visible every night that you've got clear weather. I hope you'll go to wherever your special spot is in nature for observing sunset. I hope you all have a special spot that you can get to relatively easily, just a place you enjoy to watch the sunset, that hopefully you can walk to, but drive to quick if necessary. And so, yes, you watch the sunset, and then Venus is visible very soon after the sun goes down. And even before sunset, you can see Venus as it gets to its brightest. I don't think it's there yet, but in December, it may be that you actually can see Venus. I'm pretty sure you will be able to see Venus even when the sun's still up. But anyway, this is a great moment to be really observing Venus, kind of bowing and thanking Venus, and opening to direct intimacy with Venus. The more I regularly observe her, like I try, if the sky is clear, I'm fortunate that I can see her out my window here. But if it's clear, I'm looking out, I'm checking her out. I'm like, oh, there you are. It's so awesome to see you again tonight. It's like the more I notice her, the more she notices me noticing her. It's like there's a kind of intimacy I'm feeling with Venus consciousness that I haven't before I started just really setting the intention to see her every day if I can, because it's a blessing to my eyes and to my heart to just see her beauty there emerging in the nighttime sky. She's visible longer and longer up through December, and so you got a lot of chance to just soak her in and let her soak you in. So yeah, definitely be checking out Venus. And was there something else? Okay, I'm gonna check my notes. Oh yeah, that was the last thing. The next Venus gate is October 9th. Okay, let's go to that. Yeah, that was the new moon. And then, am I going backwards? Here it is. Here's October 9th. Moon Venus conjunction. And yes, hopefully you'll have clear skies. Hopefully I'll have clear skies to see the crescent moon below Venus and then the next night above her. I've been loving keeping track of this. I have previous videos on this, how we're tuning in to the, in this case, 8 Moon Venus conjunctions while she's in the evening sky. And then there'll be 7 or 8 Moon Venus conjunctions in the morning sky, which she'll transition to by the end of December. I forget exactly when it happens, but yeah, it's like there's a correlation between Inanna's return from the underworld when she's in the evening sky and then her going to the underworld when she's in the morning sky. And there's also a sense of each one of those Moon-Venus conjunctions being like the moment that Inanna restores her clothing and her magical instruments, or when she removes each of those. There's that correlation, but also a sense of the chakras opening. And so we're moving towards the 6th chakra opening Moon-Venus conjunction on October 9th. And so, yeah, it's like we're starting to get into the peak of Venus's full triumphant return from the underworld, and it's like you can feel your chakras opening. Her beauty is returning, and it's just so awesome to see her and to know that she's getting brighter and brighter all the way till January. And it's like she's still going to be super bright in the morning sky. It's like there's something super energizing about it, and we're getting into the kind of peak of it now, and our third eyes are opening, and they're opening as we look upon Venus, and on the 9th and 10th, looking at her with the moon. The Moon-Venus moments are when the moon is about connecting and caring and nurturing. And when she's with Venus each month, that's when we can connect the most with her. So I want you to mark on your calendar, October 9th and 10th, get out, watch the sunset, and take in deep intimacy with Venus, her love force, and with the moon, the nurturing care force. And so I wish you blessings with your relationship with Venus this month.